Today we're starting a series where we just want to introduce you to some of the higher-ups here at Office Pride. Really want you to get to know just the different people throughout leadership team that you might interact with or hear from. And today we actually have Tony Gray with us, who is our company minister.
Hello, thanks for having me.
So when we start off here, we just want to ask a question, help you guys get to know him a little bit better. So just give me some background on yourself. Where'd you grow up? What kind of jobs do you have?
Yeah, sure. So I grew up in Louisville, Kentucky, born and raised there. I lived here or there for most of my life, with a short stint of about 8 years in Chicago and a couple of years in Tampa Bay. Other than that, pretty much in the Louisville area, with some small stints around Frankfort, Kentucky, and Nicholasville, Kentucky. So, had a great childhood, and some of the jobs that I did, I guess basically coming up, when I first started working and getting into the working field, I was a roofer. Manual labor, stuff like that, roofing and framing and construction work. I did that pretty much all through my 20s, and for about 20 years, I'd say I was in that field. Then I got into some healthcare fields, which is where I learned how to clean good, I guess you would say. I was in long-term care, did a lot of work inside nursing homes and hospitals, cleaning them. And then at that point, after about 10 to 15 years of doing that, I somehow managed to stumble into being a sports writer while I was living in Chicago. So I was a sports writer for about 8 years. During that time, I also had my own radio show, so I was a bit of a radio personality for a little bit. Now I've managed to come full circle and come back to Louisville, where I met Matt Mays, the owner of Office Pride, and started out here at Office Pride as a supervisor in the operations field, or operations silo, and that was about 2 years ago. And lo and behold, what a winding path it's been, and now I'm sitting here through God's promotion as the minister for Office Pride. Glory.
Okay. So you mentioned that you did some journalistic things for sports. What kind of sports would you normally cover?
It was mainly baseball. It started out, I was helping a guy that I was coaching with. We were kind of coaching, not little leaguers, but travel ball age players in Chicago. And I met a guy who was a scout for the Oakland A's, and started helping him do some scouting. And through writing scouting reports and certain people reading those reports, it ended up getting hooked up with the Daily Herald in Chicago, and started out doing some freelance writing for them. And then they started putting me on assignment. Started out writing about high school baseball, and then the next thing I knew, I was writing about college baseball, and then on the assignment, and I actually got put on the beat of the Chicago Cubs.
Wow.
So yeah, and then through that, picked up the radio show, and the radio show wasn't just about baseball, so I had to talk about all the sports teams up there, and there's a lot of them in Chicago.
Yeah.
So, I started talking about football, basketball, baseball, hockey, pros, minors, and college. And believe me, that was enough. There was a lot of teams to talk about doing that. So, after I ended up being a guy from the South that couldn't hack it up north, and came back to Louisville, and then for a couple of years covered the Louisville Cardinal baseball program. And so, yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. met a lot of really cool and amazing people, and it was a great time. So.
Well, those are some of the jobs you've done, but what are some of the hobbies, some of the things you just personally enjoy?
Yeah, sure. So I'm a guy that's always been interested in a lot of things. I've always wanted to master a lot of things, constantly bouncing around with interest. But I would say my main things that I spent the most time on was playing guitar. I started playing guitar when I was 14 years old, and I still play. And so that's about, not to give away my age or anything, but about 30 years I've been playing guitar. I also write songs and sing. I really enjoy it. It's been a great tool and a companion throughout my life. I'm also a big fishing enthusiast. Love to go fishing. Right now I'm kind of hooked on catfishing. I started out mainly as like a bluegill and bass fisherman, but once I started getting into the world of catfishing, I'm hooked. Yeah, and also hunting and shooting, which is something that my father had kind of passed down to both me and my brothers, and like to go squirrel hunting, deer hunting, rabbit hunting, boar hunting, turkey hunting, and then also just go to the range and do target shooting. And I like to shoot some trap and clay pigeons and that type of thing. So, yeah, those are pretty much the biggest main hobbies that I would find myself doing on a rainy day.
Convenient, seeing as it's about to be a rainy day out there.
Yeah, it's looking pretty bad out there. It's looking like the Wizard of Oz out there right now.
Now, some of you may not know, but most of you probably do. Tony's actually married to our Director of Operations, Melissa.
Yeah.
So here's a fun question for you. How did you meet your wife?
So Melissa and I met, believe it or not, through the good old online dating sites. So, yeah, I used to cringe at that, but it is what it is. The Lord meant for me and Melissa to meet that way. We started out talking on a dating site, getting to know each other. We met and went out on a date, and we dated each other for about 2 years. And after 2 years of dating, we tied the knot. So, and it's been one heck of a ride with her, and I'm the one that got the best deal out of that. So.
That's what all good husbands ought to say, if they think before they talk, at least.
All right. Yeah, definitely. She's been a blessing. I've learned a lot from her. She's a great support. Anybody that knows Melissa knows that she's got a great heart. There's a light shining inside of her, and I've been the recipient of that, and I'm all the better for it. So, Melissa, if you're listening out there, I love you.
Now, there's few events in a person's life that are very memorable or dramatic, and the next one is probably the most dramatic of all. Briefly, and the reason we're doing this briefly is because he actually already has recorded his testimony, which I'm going to link down underneath this so that you can go and watch the whole thing. But briefly, how did you come to meet Christ?
Yeah, so it wasn't a short road to meeting Christ, but I guess the pivotal moment, the apex moment, so to speak, would be the sixth time that I was in a near-death accident in which I had my neck broken. My C1 was broken in 2 places from a tree limb falling on me. And the culmination of the other 5 times that I almost died all came to a perfect storm and projectiled me, I guess, or that was the actual catalyst towards me realizing the revelation of the Lord Jesus Christ in my life. at which point the true meat and potatoes of the journey, I guess, started. So that would be the brief of it. I guess that was what you're looking for.
Yeah. And I would encourage anyone listening, go ahead and click on that link to see the whole testimony. It is quite the story, and I know you do a good job telling it.
Oh, well, thank you. Yeah, it's good to share your testimony, and if you do click on that and watch the testimony, you'll see that it has been quite a road. Thankfully, I'm here. I don't know why he chose me. I don't know what I did. I certainly haven't deserved it. I didn't earn it, but the Lord was very patient with me and gracious towards me. And here I am sitting today with the chance to spread the gospel, to make a difference in people's lives, and to give myself completely to the Lord in return for His patience and love, and my repentance for what Jesus did for me on the cross. So I'm very thankful to the Lord, and all the glory goes to Him. All the credit goes to Him. And just what an amazing thing that He's done and who He is. So,
yeah. Now, we touched a little bit on how you actually got to Office Pride, but what has your time at Office Pride looked like?
Excuse me. Well, my time at Office Pride, like I said, I started out as a supervisor in the operations area, and went from there to sales. Went from sales to, as a sales associate, to being put in charge of special projects, and from special projects to the ministry role. And I like to tell people that the ministry role started with a prayer and ended with a promotion. So, God's all about promotion, and that's probably something that I think we can touch on the next question too, whenever we get to that. But so it's been a great journey here. I couldn't imagine working anywhere else, and I plan on being here until the day that they haul me away, bury me in my Dodge.
Okay.
I have a Dodge truck, for all those who wondered.
Now, is that a conflict of interest with the Ford F-150 out there?
That's a company vehicle, and I proudly support company vehicles. It is a blessing. However, I still have my Dodge in the driveway, and it will be waiting there should I ever need it again. And it's actually my fishing truck. So
okay. I know my dad, he's much more a Dodge person than anything else. I don't really know why, but that's always what we've gone
Dodges
with.
have a lot of power, and when you drive something that has a lot of power like a Dodge, you just kind of get used to that, and you expect that certain thing, you expect that type of performance. But hey, Fords and Chevys, you guys are doing a good thing. You'll get there. Keep working at it.
All right. Well, as we wrap up our time today, there's just one more question that I wanted to ask, and that's just, what is something you want everyone at Office Pride to know?
Yeah, absolutely. So listen, guys and girls, number one, we want you to know that we appreciate you guys, first and foremost. We know that this is a tough industry. It's got a lot of demands, but everything that you do is appreciated. We thank you for it, and I want you all to know that you're here at a company that has the favor of the Lord upon it, and that if you're here, there's a reason why. And there's a great time right now. We're at a stage where growth is about to happen, and the growth is coming at an accelerated pace, and the things that God is doing is coming at an accelerated pace. So God's all about promotion. And so what I want you to do is just think for a second about the word sustainability, and realize that because God's all about promotion, what we want to do here is the position that we're in at the moment, we want to work that ground. We want to till that ground, seed it and water it, and keep it sustainable for the next person that's going to step into that as you're promoted into your next position. So God does things in cycles. He's all about promotion, and we want to sustain what we're doing here. So just keep that in your mind, that you've been brought to this company at a time when it's relatively in its infancy and headed towards great things. It's growing very fastly, but take the time to take pride in what you're doing and the position you're doing, and you will be rewarded for that. And let's make it easy for the guy coming up behind you or the girl coming up behind you so that they can step into that role and keep it going just how you had it going. And then when you step into your next role, that person was working that soil correctly, that you're going to be able to sustain that soil. And I highly encourage you to reach out to me. I've made my contact information available for you here, or Ethan will put it into a link for you. I'm a resource for you. Just know that I'm here to serve, and I consider it a blessing to serve you, and I'm here for you however it is that I can be that service to you. So I just want to say God bless to all of you, and thank you for having me on here, Ethan.
Yeah, and that's a good reminder. Tony is always there for anybody who needs to talk to him. And it's one of those things that doesn't come often in a company position, that you have somebody who you can talk to like that. And, we do want to emphasize that Tony is there and he listens and he cares a whole bunch.
Absolutely.
So anything you're going through, you feel like you have a struggle and nobody else is going to understand, or you feel like you can't tell your manager, reach out to Tony.
Yes, please.
He will keep that confidential. He will talk to you about it, and he will walk you through it. So I'll put his contact information down there as well. Most of you should have it, but if you don't, reach out to him. And even if it's as simple as just a prayer request or anything else, don't hesitate, because he loves to hear from you.
Absolutely.